On Global TV News Prime, President Tinubu urges West African leaders to reactivate regional security force. In business, federal government okays 40 billion naira zero-interest loans for tertiary institution staff. On the foreign scene, trilateral Ukraine talks to resume in Abu Dhabi on Wednesday. And in sports, Nigeria Premier Football League imposes stadium ban on Niger Tornadoes Football Club. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Shehu Said, glad to be back with you on News Prime. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Now the news in details. Suspected terrorists have attacked Aguara, local government area of Niger State, killed one person and set ablaze the United Missionary Church of Africa and the police station in the community. Confirming the attack, the Niger State Police Public Relations Officer SP Wasiu Abiodun said armed bandits invaded Aguara community and attacked the police station, where they were engaged by a tactical team on the ground. According to him, the attackers later overpowered the team and used suspected dynamite to set the station ablaze. He added that the terrorists subsequently moved to the church in the community, where they burned part of the building before proceeding to other areas and abducting about 5 persons whose identities are yet to be ascertained. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has called for the reactivation of a regional standby force to address growing insecurity across West Africa and the Sahel, urging neighboring countries to deepen intelligence sharing and collective action against terrorism. The president's position was conveyed by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumego Ojukwu, at a security conference held in Accra, Ghana, where Nigeria reaffirmed its commitment to regional peace and stability. President Tinubu also highlighted Nigeria's National Counterterrorism Center in Abuja as a potential intelligence and operations hub, while warning that terrorist groups are increasingly exploiting cyberspace to spread misinformation and undermine regional security. Still on security matters, troops of Operation Haɗin Kai have neutralized a top Boko Haram leader identified as the second in command, alongside 10 other foot soldiers in Sambisa Forest of Borno State. In a statement, the Media Information Officer of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Haɗin Kai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, said many weapons were also recovered during the operation. The terrorists were said to have been neutralized in the Komala General Area, a location under Konduga local government area, during a night operation. Getting home safely has become a daily gamble for many commuters in the Federal Capital Territory and its environs. This is because as public transport systems fail, criminal networks have stepped in, posing as commercial drivers and turning routine journeys into terrifying ordeals. Sadia Yakubu gives us the breakdown of public transportation and how it continues to fuel the deadly one-chance phenomenon.
This is one of the busiest bus stops in the city, but as night approaches, government-owned buses disappear, regulated transport systems shut down, and commuters are left with one option: unregistered, unverified vehicles. This is where the nightmare often begins. Known on the street as one chance, these criminal operators disguise themselves as public transport. Victims are robbed, assaulted, kidnapped, and in some cases, killed.
You go see them, they will come bus stop like this. Instead of them to enter motorway, they bus stop. They no go grey enter. You go do sharp. Before you know, one chance where they park. Because one chance need they park. One chance, no, they need they park their motor. Say we make them park. Because if they park, they go cast. Because all of us today now, we are ready to start taxi.
In many cities, public buses are too few, poorly maintained, or completely absent after working hours. Rail systems are unreliable. Transport policies are inconsistent. The result, depression.
Joblessness is one of it. And idleness, laziness, let me put it that way, because some people, they feel getting a mere job that will pay them few money, no, they want fast money, they want quick money, so they feel one way for them to get it is by ripping off people at their hard-earned money.
These criminals study commuters' behavior. They know when transport shuts down. That's when attacks peak. Despite repeated promises of reform, commuters say little has changed until public transport works for everyone. Every day and night, the street remains unsafe.
I think hardship. Some people like me, I can't follow all this one chance. Me, I struggle on my own. I'm a taxi driver. So those who are doing all this is lack of job. They don't have anything to do, so they fall doing the wrong things, doing the one chance.
Solving the one chance menace is not just about arrest. It's about fixing the system that enables it. Until public transport becomes safe, reliable and accessible, the journey home will remain a dangerous one for many. A broken system with deadly consequences as commuters continue to demand safe transport. The question remains, how many more must suffer before real change begins? Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
Kwara State government has announced the reopening of schools across the state from Monday, following what it described as a significant improvement in the security situation amid sustained operations by security forces against bandits and other criminal elements. The decision was contained in a statement issued by the Press Secretary of the Ministry of Education and Human Capital Development, Peter Amogbonjai. According to the statement, school authorities across the state have been formally notified of the development. In the same vein, the Anambra State government has announced the expiration of the closure order placed on Onitsha Main Market, directing traders to resume business activities on Monday, February 2, 2026. In a statement issued by the Commissioner for Information, Dr. Law Mefo, the government assured residents of adequate security, stressing that there is no longer any sit-at-home order on Mondays across the state. The government also warned that civil servants and teachers who failed to report to work will not be paid, while parents were urged to allow their children attend school to avoid sanctions. To political matters now, where Vice President Kashim Shettima has formally welcomed Taraba State Governor Agbu Kefas into the All Progressives Congress APC, describing the ruling party as one where political differences are resolved through inclusion, performance, and national purpose. Speaking in Jalingo on behalf of President Bola Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima said Kefas' decision to defect from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) strengthens national cohesion and positions Taraba State to benefit more directly from federal policies on agriculture, energy and infrastructure. The Senate President, APC national leadership and other party stakeholders described the move as strategic, while Governor Kefas said his defection was driven by the need to accelerate development and create better opportunities for youths and communities in the state. The federal government says it is engaging the United States through diplomatic channels to secure Nigeria's removal from the list of countries affected by Washington's recent immigrant visa restrictions. The U.S. had on January 14 announced an immigrant visa pause affecting 75 countries, including Nigeria, with the directive taking effect from January 21, 2026, raising concerns among Nigerians seeking permanent residency and employment opportunities in America. Speaking with newsmen, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimibi Ibenfa, said visa issuance remains the sovereign right of nations, but assured that Nigeria is in active dialogue with U.S. authorities, stressing that the federal government remains committed to protecting Nigerians abroad and strengthening bilateral relations with Washington, while expressing optimism that Nigeria will be delisted once identified concerns are resolved. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it will deploy more than 3,000 bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS) devices for the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections scheduled for February 21, 2026. INEC officials disclosed that about 3,345 BVAS devices will be deployed across the 2,822 polling units in the FCT, with some used directly for voter accreditation, while others will serve as backups to ensure a hitch-free process. The Commission is also expected to conduct a mock voter accreditation exercise before the elections to test the devices and electronic transmission of results across the 6 councils of Abaji, Abuja Municipal Area Council, Buari, Gwagwalada, Kuje, and Kwali, where 68 elective positions will be contested by 637 candidates fielded by 17 political parties. The chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Professor Abdullahi Usman, has reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to early and orderly preparations for the 2026 Hajj exercise. Professor Usman stated this in a statement issued by his technical assistant on media, Ahmad Muazu, in Abuja, expressing the Commission's commitment to effective coordination and strict adherence to established procedures for the Hajj exercise. He said the Commission remained fully aligned with the policy direction of the federal government under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has called for unity, peace, and collective responsibility as the state marks 50 years of its creation. The governor made the call while flagging off activities for the Golden Jubilee celebration in Owerri. Amarachi Ibe reports.
It was a moment of gratitude and quiet celebration as Imo State turned 50. With prayers, reflection, and hope for the future, Governor Hope Uzodinma flagged off activities for the Golden Jubilee in Owerri. The governor says Imo State Golden Jubilee is a moment for reflection, renewal, and recommitment to peace and development. Speaking at an interdenominational Thanksgiving service in Owerri, the governor acknowledged the state's challenges over the years, but expressed gratitude for improved security and stability, which he attributes partly to sustained prayers and support from the church. He urges residents to remain united and focus on building a secure and prosperous future for the next generation.
I want to especially acknowledge and thank the church for its consistent prayers for Imo State. I have to say that the church stood firmly with Imo State in prayers at a very trying period in our state. Were it not for those prayers, overcoming the grave security challenges that followed the violent prison at the outset of this administration, would have been far more difficult.
In his sermon, Bishop of Owerri Methodist Diocese, Reverend Godfrey Carlo, called for moral renewal and unity while commending the state governor's development efforts.
Like Mbakwe, distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma is replicating some of the exploits of the pioneer governor of Imo State because of his infrastructural revolution.
The acting chairman, Imo State Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Rozomo Uzeshi, also stressed the need for collaboration and shared value in driving progress.
The Christian faith in Imo State has brought transformation, promoting love, compassion, and service. Churches have been pillars of hope, contributing to education, healthcare, and community development.
Service featured prayers for peace and progress and officially opened activities for the Golden Jubilee, which will climax on February 7. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe reporting for Global TV News.
The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has deployed a full-time technical expert to Benue State to respond to the worsening humanitarian crisis as the number of internally displaced persons continues to rise. UNICEF's Chief of Field Services, Judith Levili, gave the assurance during a high-level visit to the Makodi International Market IDP camp. Felicity Indire reports.
The humanitarian situation in Benue State continues to put immense pressure on already limited resources as more families are displaced by ongoing insecurity and communal clashes, driving up demand for food, shelter, healthcare and other essential services across IDP camps.
So UNICEF doesn't work in isolation. It's really bringing the different players together.
To address some of these challenges, about 1,300 girls across IDP camps in Benue, including 100 at the Makodi International Market camp, have received sanitary kits through a UNICEF and JASP project. The initiative is designed to promote hygiene, prevent diseases, and restore dignity for displaced girls who often lack access to basic supply. During her visit, UNICEF Chief of Field Services, Judith Lively, assessed ongoing programs and spoke with camp officials and beneficiaries, describing the situation as both encouraging for local efforts and deeply troubling given the level of deprivation faced by displaced families.
I see children need attention. These are very extremely vulnerable population and we need to mobilize more help. This is only one of the many camps that exist in Benue State. I understand that there are more than 14. There are more than 500,000 people, half a million people displaced in the state. So I call on all, adults, stakeholders, authorities to really strengthen attention to the needs of the most deprived population in the Benue State.
The head of JASP, Mrs. Patricia Soswam, said the items were selected based on the direct needs of the girls.
The exercise we are carrying out today is to support the children, especially the girls. It's mainly for the girls. And the content is to help them because as they are here, some of them don't have some of these particular kits. We are giving them, we call it essential kits.
Beneficiaries at the camp describe the kit as more than just hygiene items, saying they provide relief and restore a sense of self-respect.
I'm excited. I'm happy. At least people feel there is somebody here. People feel I'm a living thing, so I'm grateful. I'm happy. And may God bless them.
Happy because I never knew that I would get such kind of items. But as I'm here, UNICEF helped me to get this type of these items.
Organizers say the kits are essential for helping displaced girls stay clean, healthy, and maintain dignity in camp life. Each set includes reusable sanitary pads, soap, detergent, buckets, and dental supplies. At the Makodi International Market IDP camp, Felicity Indire reporting for Global Television News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime. News Prime continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of the break. Please be with us.
Glad to have you join us on the weather forecast. We're seeing moisture influx reaching the north-central cities, bringing patches of cloud cover, though hazy condition will still linger in the atmosphere, reducing visibility in some areas. Over the south, expect partly cloudy skies with possibility of isolated thunderstorms, particularly over the southwest inland areas and coastal cities, as well as the southeast and south-south coastal cities. In contrast, the northern region will remain dry and sunny with no significant weather expected, offering a nice clear day for those areas. And that's the weather forecast for Monday. I'm Sefia Senginusa. Stay weather away and thank you for watching.
Glad to have you there, and we open the Second segment of the news with business, where President Bola Tinubu has approved the disbursement of 40 billion naira in zero-interest loans to lecturers and other workers in Nigeria's tertiary institutions, reaffirming the federal government's commitment to staff welfare and a stable academic calendar. The president made this known at the 45th convocation ceremony of the Ahmadu Bello University, ABU Zaria, where he was represented by the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad. President Tinubu said the staff loan scheme was introduced to ease financial pressures on academic and non-academic staff and enable them to concentrate on teaching, research, and community service. The federal government has handed over the 6-megawatt Ikere Gorge hydropower plant in Esheyin, Oyo State, to Measures Quant Power and Infrastructure Nigeria Limited under a public-private partnership PPP concession arrangement to boost power supply. This was made known in a statement signed by the personal assistant on media and publicity to the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Tehemen Oradwen. According to Oradwen, the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Talumun Utsev, and the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, performed the handover ceremony. Speaking during the ceremony, the Minister of Water Resources described the concession as a significant milestone in the federal government's drive to bridge infrastructure financing gaps and enhance sustainable power generation through private sector participation. Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, has urged Nigerians to file their annual tax returns. He stressed that both employers and individuals must comply under the law. He made this known during a meeting with human resource managers, payroll officers, and tax managers in collaboration with the Joint Revenue Board. Oyedele said many Nigerians remain non-compliant in filing self-assessment returns, stating that individual taxpayers must also file their self-assessment, as compliance in this area remains very low. On the foreign scene, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has warned the United States that any attack on his country will result in a regional war as United States President Donald Trump amasses military assets in the Middle East. He was speaking to a large crowd of supporters gathered to mark the anniversary of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's return to Iran from exile in France in 1979, which led to the Iranian Revolution and the flight of the US-backed ruler Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. Khamenei said the US wants to devour Iran and its vast oil and natural gas resources, adding that what happened during the recent anti-government protests was similar to a coup, since a large number of government offices, banks, and mosques were stormed. The Supreme Leader described the deadly arrest as another sedition, a term he had previously used for the 2009 Green Movement and other such protests. Israel has reopened the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt on a trial basis, allowing sick and wounded Palestinians seek medical treatment abroad after nearly 2 years of closure. The reopening comes amidst renewed Israeli airstrikes that killed at least 31 Palestinians in a single day, raising the number of deaths since the ceasefire to more than 500. Health authorities say Israel's military campaign in Gaza has killed over 71,000 people since October 2023, while humanitarian conditions in the enclave continue to worsen. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says a second round of trilateral talks on ending the war with Russia will take place in Abu Dhabi this week, as the fate of a temporary ceasefire hangs in the balance. Zelensky, whose country's energy system has come under relentless attack in one of the coldest winters in years, said envoys from the United States, Russia, and Ukraine will meet in Abu Dhabi on Wednesday and Thursday. He said Ukraine is ready for a substantive discussion and interested in ensuring that the outcome brings a real and dignified end to the war. And in sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League has added the Bako Kwantagora Stadium in Minna to its banned list after declaring the venue unfit to host top-flight matches, forcing Niger Tornadoes to relocate their home fixtures for the remaining season. In a letter signed by the league's Chief Operating Officer, Davidson Owumi, the league informed Niger Tornadoes that the decision followed recent broadcast and television rights agreements, which now require match venues to meet higher technical and infrastructural standards. It added that the Bako Kwantagora Stadium no longer satisfies the requirements needed to stage league fixtures under the new broadcast framework, prompting the directive for the club to immediately identify an alternative home ground. And the Athletics Federation of Nigeria and stakeholders have called for a locally managed athlete database to tackle age falsification, warning that foreign platform alone cannot fix the issue. The move follows a December 2025 alert by World Athletics Integrity Unit, which flagged 17 Nigerian athletes for age discrepancies, highlighting that governance and data integrity, not software, are key to resolving the problem. While welcoming the introduction of roster athletics, the Federation President Tonobok Okoa and former athletes Enefiok Udo Obong and Olusoji Fasuba stressed the need for a federation control system linked to national identification number and passport verification to prevent conflicting birth dates. And away in Europe, the Spanish club Atletico Madrid have agreed a 40 million euro package with Italian club Atalanta for Nigeria international Ademola Lookman and improved their salary proposal to the forward, putting them ahead in the race for his signature. Atletico Madrid have matched Turkey Fenerbahce club proposal for Lookman with a 40 million euro package agreed with Atalanta. And that wraps it up on News Prime. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. First, we told you that President Bola Tinubu has called for the reactivation of a regional standby force to address growing insecurity across West Africa and the Sahel, urging neighboring countries to deepen intelligence sharing and collective action against terrorism. And in business, we also told you President Bola Tinubu has approved the disbursement of 40 billion naira in zero-interest loans to lecturers and other workers in Nigeria's tertiary institutions, reaffirming the federal government's commitment to staff welfare and a stable academic calendar. And on the foreign scene, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says a second round of trilateral talks on ending the war with Russia will take place in Abu Dhabi this week as the fate of a temporary ceasefire hangs in the balance. And finally, in sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League has added the Bako Kwantagora Stadium in Minna to its banned list after declaring the venue unfit to host top-flight matches, forcing Niger Tornadoes to relocate their home fixtures for the remaining season. And here's a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I'm Shehu Said, wishing all of you a productive week and have a good night rest.